Another set of winners. They're going on DVD, and the movie is Sync. Sam is standing by.
Yes,
Yeah, definitely, Lebo. It tells the story of Rachel, a Mozambican domestic worker living in Johannesburg, who's forced to make a life-changing decision after her daughter dies while under the care of her South African employer. That's one of top 10 Afrikaans films made to date, titled Sync, which has received several awards around the world, including Best of the Show by the Accolade Global Film Competition. Sync stars Anel Alexander, Shoki, Mokgapa, and Jacques Bessenger, who have all received Best Actress and Actor nominations at the 2016 Huisgenoot Tempo Awards. The director of the film has been here before, Brett Micheal Innes, joins us to tell us more about the movie's release. Brett, good morning.
Good morning, it's good to be back.
You're really striking the right note with these kind of films. What is it about? Give us a synopsis quickly. I think I kind of talked about what it really is about.
Yeah, I think you summed it up, but I think it really just taps into the national conversation that's happening in South Africa on so many levels, and I think it explores paradigms that we all recognize currently as South Africans. I think a lot of films we make, especially when dealing with such heavy topics, we go back 20, 30, 40 years to times which maybe we don't necessarily recognize, but this really shows what we sit with now. I think a lot of people who've watched it recognize the conversations that take place, the imagery that comes forward, and I think that's what's hitting people in the heart.
Let's talk about that quickly, because it is a complex topic to tell in the story, and then you talk about things like imagery, making visual representation to make sure that you're not, you tell a story that's watchable. You don't want people to sit there and go, oh, this is boring.
Yeah.
What is that formula?
I think for us, the heart behind this film was to make one that wouldn't just sit here in South Africa, but would actually travel. And in order to do so, it meant you needed to have visuals that were beautiful, sound design that really touched people, and performances that also went to quite deep places, which is why we assembled just this incredible team of artists, some of the best in South Africa, to bring to life what is actually quite a small story, but one which, based on reviews, just grips people from the first frame.
Yeah, we're busy looking at some of the visuals now. I mean, when you're sitting there with your creative team and you've got to lead this team through this process, awards is the furthest thing from your mind. You just really want to create a beautiful story that, as you said, that will work in South Africa, on the African continent, in Europe, in America. But when the awards start coming in and people are responding in a way that maybe you predicted, maybe you didn't, what does that say about the quality of the film and the acting and just the quality of the production in total?
As artists, that kind of recognition from peers really, it encourages you to do the next thing, the next risk that you want to take. I think for me, as a storyteller, what touches me more is when I snuck into cinemas. We had a really good cinema run, and no one knows the director is hiding there, but when you watch people crying or responding to something you've created, it really, that is why I do it, and I think that's why it's so awesome now that it is coming into people's homes. They're able to watch it in their space as opposed to having to go into cinemas.
Well, it did it 5 weeks as a cinema run, is now available on box office.
And DVD, yeah.
And DVD. What are some of the feedback you've gotten from critics around the world?
Look, so locally, Leon van Nierop has listed it as one of the top 10 Afrikaans films ever made, which is, it blows my mind. We were at the Atlanta Film Festival, and already in the US there's a political kind of, context, which is very interesting. And it was great to have the Q&A afterwards, where Atlantan natives were just like, we love this story. It speaks to where we are, and as much as it is a South African story, it is a universal tale.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, I think often our stories don't travel because they're so specific to our experience, but this taps into something that Americans really were identifying with, and it asks the questions that it asks the questions that they're all asking, and in a way that I think often we ask our questions in a way that are quite attacking all over the show, and it means we shout at each other. The feedback from this film is that it's asking those questions, but in a way that actually brings change in people's hearts. It makes us reflective, and to me that is what art does. It goes deep inside and explores those things.
When you make a film like this, are you coming from a point where you want people, as you threw out, ask those questions, or are you also subtly suggesting something?
Look, so any of the questions that Sync asks, and there are so many, I don't believe I have any of the answers to them, and everyone is asking different ones. I think what I as an artist want to do is ask the questions and show. and to touch people, to move them. And from that place, I think if you're trying to give an answer, you're almost being a preacher, and preaching should be saved for the place it's done in. It is not the place. It's not the place for the artist to preach or to have an agenda, because I think people see through that and immediately they don't engage. But if you are just showing, you are able to touch people in a much deeper way.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the visuals. Some of these visuals are just so incredibly specific to evoke a certain kind of emotion. Even the way it's set up from its lighting perspective, all of these little things adds to that. When you work with a cast that all be nominated as Best Actor, Best Actresses, it doesn't make your job easier, or do you have to put the flag in the sand and go, we need to do it this way? I know you guys are super creative, but
I think often a director may have to. On this film, everyone got it from the beginning. It's just, that was the beauty, is that there was no ego involved, which is not often the case. We all are artists, we all carry our egos. But everyone wanted to serve the story and just poured themselves into it and felt it. I think that is the thing that I come out of this, is I've watched this 500 times and I'm moved by what this team created. I can't claim it all for myself. It's this team of artists, some of the best in SA, came together and created something that moves South Africans and international audiences.
Brett, so nice seeing you again. Brett Micheal Innes is the director of it's been labelled as one of the top 10 South African films made to date, Sync, which was released on DVD yesterday, and it's available on box office. The film has been awarded the Jury Life Award by the Mexican International Film Festival and was just named Best of Show by the Accolade Global Film Competition. So it's a great film. Go and get it and download it. Go on to box office. We take an ad break. Don't go anywhere.